Two. Hey, what's going on? TikTok, what's going on? YouTube, hope you're doing well on tonight. Let me get a sound check. Sound check. Now for YouTube, let me get a thumbs up if you can. Looks like Diamond Girl. Please, Diamond Girl, before you leave, could you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Not stay, but could you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? And on YouTube, definitely, I hope you can hear. Hope you can hear. Give me a thumbs up. Diamond Girl may have popped in and popped out. I know how it is. I do that as well. But I'd like to know if you can hear me. I'm going to talk about tonight the sting of betrayal. What's going on? Hey, before you pop out, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me on TikTok. YouTube, give me a thumbs up. I've got my mic for my YouTube, and I did not connect. It's like Mr. Peterson, or is that John? Or it's kind of messed up when you have to take your glasses off to see, isn't it? John Peterson, what's happening? Louise Collins, what's happening? Give me a thumbs up, somebody, if you can hear. Even if you don't stay, give me a thumbs up if you can hear on TikTok. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear on YouTube. If it's clear. Carleigh Rounds. Going to talk about the sting of betrayal. Have you ever been betrayed? And I'll give you, thanks again. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear on YouTube. I'm sorry, on TikTok. Talking about the sting of betrayal. The sting of betrayal. Have you ever been betrayed? How did you feel? Who was it? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear on TikTok. Move this just a little bit closer. What's happening? Alicia Show. Looks like that's what that is. Thanks a lot for coming in. Appreciate you. Thumbs up, please. Thumbs up, please, if you can hear. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I just hope the TikTok audience can hear. Oh, well, let me go ahead and do this. Hold on a second. Hold on. Give me just a second. I'm going to make sure. I can stick this here. There you go. You probably hear me now. And here we go. So again, thank you for joining. Listen, so this is kind of an impromptu live. I came across a page a couple of weeks ago. It is, and I'm going to pronounce it Koos. I'm going to pronounce it Koos, the mentor, Koos, the mentor. Go check him out. But I came across something he posted. It may have been today. Well, I know I saw it today. I don't know exactly when it was posted. Please excuse me if this audio is doing something. But he posted something. Let me read what was actually on the clip that he posted. Your biggest fan is a stranger, and your biggest hater is someone you know. Your biggest fan is a stranger, and your biggest hater is someone you know. So when I saw that, it brought something back to my memory that I shared a while back, talking about the sting of betrayal. And you probably already know this, but just in case you don't, you'll never be betrayed by an enemy. You'll never be betrayed by an enemy or someone you don't know. I guess that's a better way of putting it. You'll never be betrayed by someone you don't know. Your biggest fan is a stranger. Your biggest hater is someone you know. You'll never be betrayed by someone you don't know. A person you don't know can never betray you. Let that sink in. A person you don't know can never betray you. In ministry, a person you don't know can never betray you. In business, a person you don't know can never betray you. In life, a person you don't know can never betray you. Think about that. You'll never be betrayed by someone you don't know. It's always somebody close to you. And how does it feel when you face betrayal from somebody you know? Somebody you trusted, somebody you had confidence in, somebody you call a friend, somebody you call a family member. How does it feel to experience betrayal from somebody close to you? That's kind of what I got when Koos, the mentor, posted that your biggest fan is a stranger and your biggest hater is somebody you know. I want to touch on something from the book of Thanks for the Hearts, really appreciate it. Desiree, what's happening, Koos? How you doing, Desiree? Touch on something from Psalm, I think it's Psalm 55. Hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, Psalm 55. King David was betrayed. Let me go there before I just throw something out here. And again, this is kind of impromptu. Had no intentions of sharing this today, but when I heard that from Mr. Koos, the mentor, it kind of brought something to my memory. Psalm 55, and it was David. This is basically a psalm of David after David. All right, Des. After David was betrayed by Ahithophel, and that's how I pronounce it. His confidant, his companion, his friend. If you know the story, one of David's sons, Absalom, wanted the throne from David. And while David was in a weakened state as he's getting older, it was Absalom who wanted the throne. He couldn't wait for his father to pass on. He had always been envious of David. And you wouldn't expect that from a child, your son, your daughter, your family member, your friend, wishing your demise, wishing you would go on, wishing that something would happen to you. But Absalom had also partnered with Ahithophel, who was at one point, again, a companion of David. And David says something in Psalm 55, and I'm going to read just a little bit of this. Let me go. Let me go to it. Hold on just a second. He says, if I had wings, and I'm going to read from the New Living Translation, then I'll read from King James. Oh, if I had wings like a dove, then I would fly away and rest. This is David after being betrayed, found out that he's being betrayed by somebody close to him. King James said, And I said, oh, that I had wings like a dove, for then would I fly away to be at rest. And it goes on to say, um, and you can definitely go and, of course, read this yourself. He is in turmoil. He's in anguish because the betrayal that he has experienced. And I'm going to look at the starting 12th verse. And again, the New Living Translation. It is not an enemy that who taunts me. Then I could bear it. It is not an adversary who deals insolently with me. Then I could hide from him. King James said, for it was not an enemy that reproached me. Then I could have borne it. Neither was it he that hated me that did magnify himself against me. Then I would have hid myself. It goes on to say in verse 13, New Living Translation, instead, it is you, my equal. Thanks for the follow. I really appreciate it. It is you, my equal, my companion, a close friend. Again, this is believed to be David speaking of Ahithophel, who was once his companion, his friend, who has joined forces with Absalom, his son, to overthrow David, take advantage of David, hope David comes to a quick demise. King James says, version says, but it was thou, a man of my equal, my guide and my acquaintance. Can you imagine having somebody close to you, you trusted in, you confided in, giving them your secrets, thinking they wanted the best for you, they wished you the best, but at the same time working behind the scenes, collecting information on you, partnering with somebody to bring your destruction. So David was in anguish. He was in turmoil, brokenhearted. And again, I'm talking about the sting of betrayal. It goes on to say, with whom, what good fellowship we once enjoyed as we walked together to the house of God. What's going on, Larry? What good fellowship we once had as we walked to the house of God. Again, he's crying out, Ahithophel, thanks for the hearts, Larry. Appreciate it. Ahithophel, you were my companion, my friend. You joined forces with my son Absalom, and you too are seeking my demise. Talking about the sting of betrayal. Talk about feeling the weight of betrayal. Appreciate it, Larry. Talk about feeling the weight of betrayal. It's one thing to be betrayed, and again, I can't say betrayal because it's one thing to be hated by somebody you don't know, but it's totally different to be betrayed by somebody you do know. It hurts to be hated by people you don't know, but you can let that run down your back, like water off a duck's back. You can I can take it a lot better to experience hatred, criticism from people I don't know. That doesn't mean anything to me. But if it's somebody, thanks for the likes. But if it's somebody you do know, that's a whole different kind of hurt. That's a whole nother level of hurt. That's a whole nother level of pain. That causes you to really go inward. Some people become withdrawn. Some people build walls up because they've been, by hurt by friends or loved ones. They build up walls, and it's hard to get those walls to come down. And if you don't know their story, you'll think something wrong with them, but you don't know what they've been through. So again, David is basically saying, Ahithophel, and again, he's not necessarily calling his name, but it's like Ahithophel. You and I were close. We were partners. We were homies. I confided in you. I trusted in you. A man of my equal, a companion, a friend. We went to church together. We went to the house of God together. We took sweet counsel together and walk to the house of God together in company. This is David, the sting of betrayal. You'll never experience betrayal from somebody you don't know. Haters gonna hate, but that betrayal is something different. But here's something about the person that betrays you. Appreciate it, Michaela. Appreciate it, Michaela. Think about this. The person that betrays you can push you to your destiny. If you don't get lost in your feelings, if you don't get lost in the emotions, if you don't get lost in the anger and the frustration, the pain of being betrayed, that person can push you to your destiny. What do I mean? In John, I want to say 13. And John, and Michaela can definitely help me out with this. Use them as a motivator. Yes, yes, yes. But in John 13, Desiree used them as a motivator. But isn't it sad you have to experience that from people you know? Again, I could care less about somebody that I don't know. You know, if they hate on me, it is what it is. But somebody you do know. But in John 13, as Jesus is sitting around the table with his disciples, and Michaela can definitely attest to this, he's about to be crucified. He's at the Last Supper, as they call it. And he says, one of you will betray me. He says, one of you will betray me. Imagine sitting around the table. It is, and it's hurtful and hard to get past. Yeah, but it makes me work. Yeah, definitely make you work harder. Definitely make you hard. Don't lose yourself in the emotion. Don't lose yourself in the bitterness, because you can become bitter if you allow it to. I've been there, done that. It only hurt myself. You only hurt yourself when you get lost in the bitterness. You stop your progress, mad at the world, mad at people who never did anything to you, build up walls that never were intended to be built up. But in John, here is Jesus. Imagine sitting around the table. Just got the number. Imagine sitting around the table with his disciples, and he says, one of you will betray me. They asked, now imagine this, they're all sitting around the table, they're asking, who is it, Lord? They didn't know. And Jesus says, if you go and read, he tells the ones that I dip the salt with, the one that I dip the bread in the salt, and I give it to him. Jesus does this. Now, here's what's funny is all the other disciples are around, and this is my take on it. Michaela, you're a young lady, you might be able to help me out on this. Jesus, and I use the term, he veiled the eyes of all the other disciples because evidently they did not pick up on what Jesus was doing. Jesus tells Judas, what you do, go do quickly. They thought that he was going, since he had the bag, he kept the money, that he was going to buy food. But he says, what you do quickly. But Jesus veiled or cloaked the eyes of the disciples so they could not see Judas being exposed. Jesus loved Judas enough not to expose him in front of the disciples. That's my take on it. But here's my point. Somebody had to betray Jesus. I mean, that's scripture. My question has always been, did it have to be Judas? Of course, we can't change things. Judas had the opportunity just like everybody else. But my point is, Jesus, he knew the disciples would do something, especially Peter. Peter was quick. So he veiled or cloaked the eyes of the disciples so that, of course, the mission that God has established could be accomplished. But he also didn't want to expose Judas. And even in the midst of being betrayed, And I use this term, you probably heard it before. Judas ate too. Jesus fed Judas too. So what's my point? Although it may be hurtful, although it you can get in your feelings, and I know this is hard. In Romans, it tells us to love your enemies. Be kind to those who despitefully use you. Pray for those who despitefully use you and abuse you. If they're hungry, feed them. If they're thirsty, give them drink. Now, our natural inclination, the human response, is to do to them what they've done to us. But that's not the way God would have it to be. I guess my point of this, for those that are just catching this was kind of like impromptu because of a post that I saw earlier. Your biggest fan is a stranger, and your biggest hater is someone you know. And it's hurtful to experience betrayal, but the betrayer, the one that betrays you, as Desiree said earlier, if she experiences betrayal, it makes you work harder. It makes you work harder. For me, I've had it happen a few times. Although, and I will be honest, the natural inclination is to want to retaliate. The natural inclination is to want to retaliate. But I know I've learned, especially the older me, the younger me, when I first got saved, it was on and popping. But I matured, and I couldn't allow what they did to me to cause me to be hardened in heart, because it would hinder my progress. I wouldn't be able to walk in integrity, and it would slow down the progress. I personally believe that. And so maturity had to come, and I guess I can get to the point where I'm starting to ramble because there's so much going through my mind right now. As going back to what I said earlier, Judas ate too. Judas ate too. Jesus suffered the sting of betrayal, but Judas ate too. So in your ministry, in your business, in your career, in the things that God has called you to do, depending on your calling, depending on what your vision for yourself, and for reaching your the highest things that God has called you to. I always believe in seeking everything that God has for me, but I do know that in that progress, there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be people who would find reason to try to stop me. But I have learned not to get lost in the emotions. Don't get lost. Don't get bitter. Try your best not to get bitter. Try your best not to dwell on it. Don't be consumed with it. Don't build up walls because of the experience you had with one or two people. Again, there are people right now, they don't want to get close to anybody because of what has been done to them in the past. Appreciate you. Thank you, Michaela. They don't want to get close to anybody. Retaliation on me is boss. That's it. This guy, Koos the mentor, he said something to the effect, your flex is your greatest revenge, I guess, something like that. And, we don't flex just for the sake of flexing, but I can show a person better than I can tell them. I've learned to, hate on me. I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. I had to learn that. Me being a person, when I was younger, I had a hair-triggered temper. I'm talking about hair-triggered temper. I'm being fight in a heartbeat. Loved it. And I wanted the person to hurt as much as they hurt me. But now, bro, I'm too old to be fighting. I'm too slow. I'm gonna go to God in prayer. But I'm also gonna put the work in. But again, that's just like an impromptu. Your biggest fan is a stranger, and your biggest hater is someone you know. Don't get lost in the betrayal. Don't build up walls. Don't become bitter. Don't become consumed with hate. David said, it was you, a man of my equal. Not only that, but his own son. I used to be so aggressive before. Yeah, that road rage. Now, Michaela, I tell you, people crazy today. You can't do that road rage. Yeah, I'm still an aggressive person. My wife tells me I'm so aggressive, but I'm a lot more pleasant with my aggressiveness. But again, thank you all for joining. I just thought I'd share that with you. The sting of betrayal. Although it hurts, Desiree, keep putting the work in. Michaela, keep doing what you do. If Koos the mentor were to check this out, I encourage him to keep doing what he does. Hope you all have a blessed and restful night. Yeah, Desiree, keep doing what you do. Haters gonna hate. Flex on them. Hey, y'all have a blessed one.